bought some more books. I really need to stop. I do not need any more books, but here we are again. I have 2 boxes of books. They're all from Book Outlet. They just have such good prices, and when I see a book I need, I just have to make an order. It just has to be done. The first book I picked up was Truly Madly Guilty by Liane Moriarty. I read The Husband's Secret by her and I absolutely loved it. It was probably one of my favorite reads of last year. And so since then, I've wanted to pick up more books by her. I am currently reading Big Little Lies for the Owls. This is about a couple who get invited to a barbecue by one of their friends, and it's kind of about some terrible thing happening at that barbecue and like everything falling apart. Liane Moriarty tends to write those types of books where they're about domestic situations and they're about some event where something huge and terrible happened, and it kind of goes back and forth between the past and the present. So this sounds like it's another one of those, and I'm hoping I really like it. Trouble Makes a Comeback by Tiffany Tromly. I bought the first book called Trouble is a Friend of Mine. This is the sequel to it. I haven't even read the first book, but I saw this on like super sale. It was like $3, I think. And I was just like, well, I'll probably like the first one. So I picked up the second one. I better like the first one. I don't know a ton about this anymore, and I don't want to read the synopsis because I don't want to spoil myself for the first book. But I know it's about 2 friends, I think, who are in high school, and they decide to get their detective on. And I like Veronica Mars a lot, so I don't know if that's what led me to this. I think someone compared it to Veronica Mars, and I was like, I'm in. So hopefully I'll like this. This next book is called Ruthless by Carolyn Lee Adams. This was a total impulse purchase. I needed to hit $45 to get free shipping, and I found this in the clearance section on Book Outlet. This is about a girl who wakes up in the back of a pickup truck and finds that she's been abducted and she has to get away from her captor. I love slasher movies and horror movies, and this sounded very kind of similar to that, and that's just my sort of thing. I'm really excited to read this. This is probably going to be one of the first ones I pick up because it is really short. Like, the text is super big and it's really short. It's like 225 pages. So I could get through this so quickly. It got okay reviews on Goodreads, so hopefully it lives up to that. The next book I picked up is The Power by Naomi Alderman. I'm so excited. This book was the reason I made this purchase. Like, this was a book I wanted that spurred on picking all these other books up. This is about a world that looks a lot like ours, except that girls end up having the power to cause agonizing pain and even death with the flick of their fingers. I believe that this is going to be a very feminist novel, and I'm just really excited by this idea. And I was about to say that this reminds me of something Margaret Atwood would write, and it turns out that the pull quote is from Margaret Atwood, so that's probably why I was thinking that. But yeah, I'm really, really excited for this. I think this sounds so great. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this, maybe because it's from a couple years ago and I wasn't really watching that much booktube a couple years ago, but I think it sounds really good and I think it's going to be great. The next book I picked up is Gloria O'Brien's History of the Future by A.S. King. I've never read anything by this author, but I think it was Books and Lala who was talking about how great this author was, so I immediately researched all of her books. And this one was on Book Outlet, and it sounded like it had an intriguing premise, so I picked it up. This is about a girl whose mother has committed suicide in the past, so she herself has always wondered if the same fate would fall to her. And then when everything changes, when she suddenly gets the ability to see anyone's past and future. And she sees that the future for humanity will be pretty dark. So she starts making notes and hoping that those notes and her ability will help change this terrible future. That sounds pretty damn awesome, so I'm really looking forward to reading this, and hopefully I will like this author's work and want to read more from her. Next book I got was Soulprint by Meg and Miranda. This is another book I hadn't read anything from the author before, but I had heard someone else, I'll put her name on the screen, talking about how great this author was, and so I really needed books to hit $45, so this was another one that I very much impulse bought. So this is about an island where this girl is being kept captive because of a crime that her soul committed in the past. Like, someone else had her soul and they committed a crime, and so she's being held captive because she inherited that soul. I clearly don't totally know what this book is about, but that's what the synopsis kind of says. So that just sounded really different, and like I said, I'm hoping to really like this author, so. The next book I picked up was Dangerous Minds by Jan Evanovich. I've read a crap ton of Jan Evanovich's work, and I did read the first book in this series. This is the second book in the Night and Moon series. I really enjoyed the first book. I enjoy all of her work. I mean, all of her work is pretty similar, to be honest. They're just light, fast, easy reads. I know I'll fly through this one. The first one, from what I remember, was very like Sherlock Holmes-y, like the main character was. And the other character was, I don't know, kind of similar to Stephanie Plum. It's very much the age-old thing of two opposites having to work together to solve crimes. This one has to do with a missing island or something, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but I'm assuming it'll make sense when I read it. No matter what, though, I just know I'll fly through this, so I'm looking forward to reading it. I do believe that this is the only other book in that series. I don't know what happened to it, that it only ended up with 2 books in the series, considering Stephanie Plum has like 30, but I'm kind of sad that it ended after 2 books. Unless that book sucks. The next book I picked up was Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I've actually never read anything by Marissa Meyer either. I know, what have I been reading? I could not tell you. Obviously, BookTube seems to really talk about this book a lot and loves this book. I'm not a huge superhero person, but I feel like people talk about Marissa Meyer so much, I really wanted to try something from her. And this does seem the most appealing to me because I'm definitely not really into storybook retellings as much. I mean, they're okay. Once Upon a Time is good, but it's just not totally my thing. I believe this is just about 2 characters, one who believes in the superheroes and one who is against them and wants to destroy them or take them down. It's definitely a big undertaking, so I don't know if I'll get to it right away. The next book I picked up is The Safest Lies by Meg and Miranda. So once again, I picked up another Meg and Miranda book because I had heard good things about the author and I had never read anything from her. This one is about a girl whose mother was once kidnapped, and she is the result of that kidnapping. Because of that, her mother has been extremely overprotective and she doesn't leave her house. And then one day, eventually, she goes missing, and the daughter has to figure out what happened all those years ago and, of course, find her mother. I love a thriller, I love a mystery, I love anything where you just don't know where it's going, so I'll probably pick this up pretty soon. The next book I picked up is All the Ugly and Wonderful Things by Bryn Greenwood. This story is about a girl who's grown up with a drug dealer father, and it's also about the connection she ends up having with one of his underlings, and I believe it's about how she gets taken away at some point when someone figures out what's going on and this like drug-filled world that she lives in, and kind of about how just because someone else sees it as ugly doesn't mean it is, I think. This is very different from something I would usually read, and I think because of that I'm just really intrigued by it because of course this is not an experience that I have. It's another book that I haven't really heard a lot about, but hopefully I'll like it. The next book I picked up is The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. I actually don't know a ton about this, but I saw, I think it was Emma Books, raving about it, and I know that it has a lot to do with rape culture and violence, and I'm very interested in hearing more about that and seeing more about rape culture being discussed, because while rape and stuff is discussed in novels a lot, I feel like the culture surrounding it and the culture that creates that isn't really talked about to an extent I would like. I think this is an important subject. The book is pretty short, so I should be able to fly through it. This book is The Girls by Emma Cline. It's about a girl who gets wrapped up in a cult with a charismatic leader that I believe is very Manson-like, and the violence that comes from that. I feel like we as a society very much have a fascination with cults and leaders like that, because you can't ever imagine how you could get sucked up into that sort of situation. You always believe that you would not be that person who would fall for their bullshit. And so I'm very intrigued to see like the inner workings of the mind of someone who does fall for that, or how they fall for that. And I hope that this book gives me that. This next book is The Wanderers by Meg Howrey. This cover is gorgeous. First of all, I just love all the colors on it. This book is about a bunch of people who take part in a simulated Mars exploration. I'm someone who's not into space stuff pretty much ever, so I'm not sure what drew me to this, but I'm actually really excited to read it for some reason. I literally have no idea why. I'm probably gonna hate this, but for some reason I was just like, yes, I need that. The next book I picked up is Before the Fall by Noah Hawley. This is a book about a plane that plunges into the ocean, and everyone on board doesn't come back except for this one guy and this kid. Everybody on board was very privileged except for this one guy who survived with this kid. And so people start to wonder how this happened, or if something sinister was at work, and if it was orchestrated. I love stories about people who kind of get stranded, and I feel like the one thing that's been missing from a lot of those stories is what happens when they get back, and kind of what happens with the media and with their families and all that. And so I'm really excited to read a story that deals with consequences like this one. I will say that Noah Hawley writes Fargo, and I actually don't like the Fargo show that much. I watched the first season, I watched a little bit of the second season. It's just not my jam, and so I'm a little worried I won't like this book, but still, nevertheless, like, this sounds really interesting, and I'm really excited about it. Although I probably won't be something I get to right away. Maybe? I don't know. The next book I picked up was The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. This is a retelling or a take on A Christmas Carol, where this girl gets visited by the ghosts of Christmas past, and then she doesn't take their advice and she dies, and now she's one of these ghosts that has to visit someone else. I freaking love Christmas so much, and I especially love Christmas episodes of television, and so I'm so excited to read this. I'm gonna save it for closer to Christmas, of course, but I'm like so excited. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to save it for Christmas, but I'm gonna have to like hide it in my closet until Christmas comes, because I really do want to read this, you know, in the spirit of the holidays. But this sounds so good. I've heard nothing but good things about it. So yeah, I'm kind of surprised there are more Christmas books. There's so many Christmas movies, and there's so many Christmas episodes of television, but not a lot of Christmas books, so I'm pretty jazzed about this. This next book is The Summer That Melted Everything by Tiffany McDaniel. So this book is about a boy who shows up in this town claiming he's the devil, answering an invitation from someone in the town. That's all I know about this. That's all I want to know about it, because that's such a different premise that I feel like anything else would spoil it. This is another one of the few books on Book Outlet where I paid $10 for it, because I just felt like I needed to have it and needed to read it. I think I will read this in the summer when the heat is getting to me, just so I can have like the feels and immerse myself in the story, which is cheesy, I know, but yeah, I think I'll save it for then. And the last book that I picked up from Book Outlet is called I Stopped Somewhere by T.E Carter. I heard Chelsea Dollings Reads talking about this book. I know it's about a girl who gets attacked and raped. I don't know much beyond that. She mentioned that it is a very brutal read. I enjoy stories that are darker, or not enjoy, but I like to read stories that are darker, and I do often find them powerful. So this is probably one of the ones that I'll pick up right away, maybe next month after the Owls are over. I also really like the cover. I think it's really pretty. So yeah, I don't want to use the word excited for it, but I am interested in it for sure. Those are the books that I picked up this month. Hopefully I will stop buying so many books. I always gravitate towards ebooks, so I don't know why I keep buying so many physical books, but when they're such a good price, I'm like, I need them. I have been trying to read more physical books. Hopefully that will continue. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll come back again later. Bye.